to be known as the watchdog of government, but over time that dog has lost its bark as well as its bite. Fortunately for Nashville, there's a new dog on the porch. He's someone they know and talk about inside both the State House and the Metro Council. He's Carl Boyd Jr., the new watchdog of government and the host of Nothing But the Truth. If you'd like to talk to Carl, call him now at 615-737-WWTN. That's 615-737-9986. The next generation of truth seekers has reached the airwaves in Nashville. Their leader is Carl Boyd Jr.
All right, Troop listeners, this is yours truly, your fearless leader, Carl Boyd Jr., and you're listening to the hottest political talk show on Sunday, Nothing But the Truth, on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, where we're live and local, and we are having, this is the finale of our Meet the Candidate series. We've had a ton of candidates the last 3 or 4 months who are vying for our votes, who are running for State House, State Senate, and now we have some U.S. Senate candidates on the program today. I'm telling you, this is the finale. Listen, you're talking about TNT knows drama. No, Nothing But the Truth knows drama. This is where the drama begins, right here on Nothing But the Truth radio program. All right, without further delay, we have our first U.S. Senate candidate by the name of Zach Poskevich. Zach, welcome to the program.
Welcome, Carl. Appreciate the opportunity to be here today.
Now, Zach, give everyone a brief synopsis of who you are, about a minute and a half, of who you are, married, education, children, all of that good stuff.
Well, I joined the service when I was 17 years old for my love for this country and a desire to protect and defend it. Of course, at 17, it required my parents' signature to sign in front of the recruiter. And so I had explained to them why I wanted to do it at that point in time versus waiting until I was 18. When I got out of the service, well, while I was in the service, I served in Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm. And after the service, I graduated college from Tennessee Technological University, graduated with honors. I'm currently married to my wife, Lenore. We've been married for 12 years. Right. We have a daughter who was named after President Reagan, and she turned 11 in June.
All right.
I grew up in Waverly, Tennessee. I currently reside in Sumner County, Hendersonville, Tennessee.
All right. And also, thank you for your service to our great nation.
Well, thank you.
And Truth listener, I forgot to mention, those who are listening on the radio, you can listen online. And we're also now, if you got your smartphones, we're on iHeartRadio. That's right. You can go to iHeartRadio, type in Super Talk 99.7, and you can listen on your smartphone while you're driving, while you're jogging, while you're sitting beside the pool drinking some lemonade. All right, iHeartRadio, we just became on iHeartRadio last week, and I want to make sure I get that out of the way. Zach, you're running for U.S. Senate, in the Republican primary. There's a lot of topics that's going to be very important this year. One of the topics I want to ask you about is Obamacare. We found out that Obamacare, according to the CBO, is costing us $1.7 trillion. If you elected as U.S. Senate for the state of Tennessee, what would you do to try to get rid of Obamacare?
Yeah, I would fight to repeal Obamacare. We've heard conversation and discussions with our current Senator, Bob Corker, but what he said about the law is he thinks it's bad, but that we need common sense legislation that fits the day and age for Americans today. And that's the problem. We have leaders in our government that do not understand the powers vested in them by the Constitution of the United States of America. What I would do is I would fight to repeal it. Bob Corker said now he would repeal it if laid on his desk, but can we really trust what he says? And that's the real question that we're talking about in this election is we can't trust our leaders anymore because, one, they have fallen away from supporting our founding principles. And that's what we need to get back to. That
going the route that Obamacare has gone?
We can. The one thing that we need to do is put health care back into the free market. We need to get the government out of health care. And if we just think about the products and services that you engage in on a daily basis, where are the cost and the quality of those products? Anytime the government gets involved in any industry, the quality goes down, the costs go up, and the access is restricted. So we have to get the government out of healthcare in order for us to be able to have better quality, have lower costs, and be able to provide it to more people.
So when you say back in the free market, are you talking about able to purchase across state line as well?
That's right. We have to get, for instance, when I decided to run for U.S. Senate, I had to go and purchase my own insurance because I'm taking a leave of absence from work. And in doing that, that's what all Americans really should be doing. Because if the government is providing the health care, then they're making the decisions. If your company is providing you choices, they provide you maybe 2, maybe 3 choices, but at the end of the day, you don't get what is best for you. So if we open up that free market, allow every American to enter that free market and buy their own insurance based on their needs, that's where we'll see the biggest impact on to our healthcare system.
Let's move on to the next issue, jobs. Over 15 million Americans are unemployed. We lost over 2 million jobs the last 3 or 4 years. We know the government doesn't create jobs, but they can make the environment conducive for job creators. If you're elected to the U.S. Senate to represent the state of Tennessee, tell us some of the ideas you would like to implement to help bring back those jobs or create jobs in Tennessee and the country.
Anytime, just a point to the listeners is if any candidate talks about legislation that they're going to propose, and that legislation isn't legislation to repeal laws that we currently have on the books or regulations, then you need to question them because we have enough laws. And in fact, in 2011, there were 40,000 new laws created in the United States of America, and we don't need any more new ones. What I would do for jobs is, number one, is the power and control that exists in Washington exists there because of the income tax. If we get an overhaul of the income tax, repeal the 16th Amendment, which would eliminate the corporate income tax, which now is the highest in the Western world. We need to get rid of that. We need to eliminate agencies that are unconstitutional, like the EPA, the FDA, because those are imposing regulations on businesses that is causing the cost of them to do business up, which ultimately lowers the amount of profit margin that they have in order to hire more people. So that's some of the things that I would propose to doing is eliminating these unconstitutional agencies. Is the primary key.
All right. True listeners, you're listening to our first U.S. Senate candidate from the state of Tennessee, Zach Poskevich. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about immigration, Second Amendment, and who is Zach Poskevich, and why should I vote for Zach Poskevich? Keep it right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN if you want the truth.
Nothing but the truth with Carl Boyd Jr. on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, true listeners, this is yours truly, your fearless leader, Carl Boyd Jr. Man, we are having the season finale of all of the Meet the Candidate series. This is the last time you will hear these candidates before you go vote on August the 2nd in the primary, in the Republican primary. And I want you to get a chance to listen to their message. We need some new blood, and I'm going to be honest, we need some new blood in D.C. I'm tired of the same old rhetoric, the same old get along just to get along type of attitude, and we're really not getting anything accomplished, and we got a lot of new, fresh candidates. And today we have our first U.S. Senate candidate, Zach Poskevich, is on the program with us. Zach, let's move to immigration. You know that we have an immigration problem. It's saying that we have over 12 million illegal aliens in this country. President Obama, a couple of months ago, gave temporary relief to over 800,000 illegal immigrants. What is your stance on illegal immigration?
Well, one of the primary goals of the functions of the federal government is to protect and defend American citizens. So when we have a president that totally sets that aside, he's in violation of the Constitution, because Article 4 of the Constitution clearly states that the Constitution guarantees each state a republic form of government and to be free from invaders. And that is, Article 4 is being violated based on Obama's position on that. And have we heard any official talking about the Constitution and how we are outside the bounds other than the healthcare debate? And see, that's the problem that we have in America. We're no longer talking about constitutionality. We're talking about who has the best ideas of maybe how to solve a problem. But when we allow the federal government to solve a problem, they create 10 additional ones. And when we allow them to solve a problem, we've given in to or we subscribe to the adage that government knows best, or government is the endower of our rights and not our Almighty God. That's one thing that we have to remember is the Declaration clearly set the pace and was followed up by the Constitution, which says that our rights are endowed upon us by our Creator, not government, not an individual, and not a party. And so when people vote on personal preference, they are violating that very premise. And they are saying this party, this person is who gives me my rights. And I say, not today, not this year, and not on my watch.
Right. This UN Gun Global Treaty, I'm sure you're keeping up with this. Why are we even having discussions about this?
Yeah, here's another example of where our leaders are not being forthcoming. A lot of leaders. The UN is not a sovereign nation. Therefore, it cannot engage in a treaty with the United States. They're in violation of the Constitution. So when Bob Corker will not come out and say he will not vote for to ratify this treaty, he's playing those games. He's not being truthful. He is adopted to government knows best. He's adopted. Did you know that one of the goals of communism is to outwardly promote the UN as the solver of all of our problems? So when we have leaders that turn to the UN versus the Constitution, they in essence are promoting a sense of communism or sense of socialism within our society, and that's what we have to stop. And we have to call it out. We don't have leaders who have the courage. You know, Mark Levin called Bob Corker a coward. And he's been called many things, but I hope the residents of Tennessee will see that we have a great alternative, and we want to call him the former senator from Tennessee.
When you look at the UN, and you brought up the UN, why should we get out of the UN? Personally, I don't like the UN. I think we ought to kick them out of our state, let them go to some third world country. But should we get out of the UN?
Absolutely. The candidate cards that I've been pushing out for over a year now clearly states my position that we need to get the U.S. out of the UN and the UN out of the U.S. because each leader is sworn to an oath to protect and defend our Constitution against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, and the UN represents not only a foreign threat, but a domestic threat. You know, they say property rights is it's an unfair advantage to accumulate wealth. Therefore, nobody should own it except for the government or the elite.
Zach, truth listener, you're listening to a U.S. Senate Republican candidate, Zach Poskevich. Zach, who is Zach Poskevich, and why should I vote for Zach Poskevich to represent Tennessee for the U.S. Senate?
Sure. Well, I'm a proud Tennessean. I'm a Christian. I'm a war veteran. And as I mentioned earlier, I joined the service at 17, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. I wanted to serve and protect this nation. What makes me different than any other candidate is this. I'm asking the residents of Tennessee to send me to the U.S. Senate so that I can once again protect the American legacy, not build a personal career or a personal legacy. And the solutions that I promote are designed to return the power back to the people away from Washington, D.C. Anybody that's promoted a Washington solution is not for and by the people. And we need people with courage. And as I fought in the first Persian Gulf War, I want to fight for the people today.
Zach, how important is it to listen to your supporters when you're about to make decisions that's going to affect Tennessee and the country?
Well, it's a very key. One of the things that we must remember is that because we have gotten the Constitution out of our discussion, the goal, again, remember the oath of office, is to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. We are a republic, not a democracy. That means that we representatives look to the Constitution of how to govern. If the people want something different, then that is, how do we make changes to that Constitution through the provisions already provided through the amendment process, not finding ways around the Constitution or violating it openly like we're seeing today.
People that are violating the Constitution, and this is one of my pet peeves, should they be tried for treason, or should they be impeached?
They absolutely should be. I mean, that's what it provided in the Constitution, is a way to get rid of our elected officials that are openly violating it. You know, when people say that Obama is doing X, Y, or Z against the Constitution, but then you have a leader like Senator Bob Corker who votes with Obama 61% of the time, and people are out there, they're realizing it. One of the things, Carl, I want to tell you that as I've traveled the state, people are excited about this race because they know that there's an alternative in this race, and I'm that alternative. In fact, on Thursday, we got an open on 99.7. Michael Del Giorno came out and said he was a Zach guy, and we're hearing that across the state. In fact, there are 2 U.S. Senate candidates that this coming week that we're going to announce that are back in our campaign. Because they know Bob Corker got elected because of a split vote. Hillary and Ed Bryant ran in 2006. They split that vote, and what did we get? We got Bob Corker, and we don't want Bob Corker again. We've had enough. Tennesseans deserve better. Tennesseans cannot handle another 6 years of Bob Corker. It'll be like the wart that won't go away, and we need to get rid of him.
Right. And we got 2 minutes left. In each minute, tell us, when you're out there talking to voters, what are 1 or 2 issues that they are concerned about in this upcoming election and you running for U.S. Senate?
Oh, the major issue is, are you going to stand on principle? We're tired of sending people to Washington only to cave or capitulate. And I can tell the residents of Tennessee that I will absolutely stand on principle, stand with the Constitution, and stand against these forces that are trying to destroy America.
30 seconds. You pro-life or pro-choice, and explain why.
I am 100% for human life. And why is because the Declaration of Independence says that our rights are endowed upon us by our Creator. Among these, life.
Zach, give us your website, contact information, in case people want to get some information about you.
Zach for Senate. That's ZACHFORSENATE. And on Facebook, it's also Zach for Senate, and Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at Zach for Senate.
You got an email in case somebody want to email you?
You can email me personally at zach@zachforsenate.com.
All right, true listeners, there's U.S. Senate Republican candidate Zach Poskevich. He's asking for your vote. He's a new breed, new blood who wants to go to Washington and represent the people of Tennessee and America. All right. Thanks, Zach, for coming in, man.
Thank you very much, Carl. I appreciate it.
And also, again, thank you for your service to this great nation.
Thank you.